And good afternoon, everybody. Welcome into another edition of the Hockey Night on Board Flyers pregame show. Today, the Philadelphia Flyers battle the Chicago Blackhawks as they meet up for the second and final time this season as they meet up at United Center in Chicago, Illinois. A pleasant good afternoon, everybody. I'm your host, James Scorza, with you with another installment of the Hockey Night on Board Flyers pregame show. As for the Flyers, yesterday they played very well to competition against the Dallas Stars. It was probably one of those games that the Flyers desperately needed, especially after the game they had the last couple nights ago against Washington. And the list goes on and on about that against teams in this basically in this beginning of the road trip, and it did not look good for the Flyers early on, but it looked like they got back on track. So this is more of a recap of the previous game. Usually I do a recap of the highlight reel about how they got started, but it's more like that the Flyers were playing to a lot. They played a lot more better than they did before. I thought they played very well yesterday. I was really happy to see some of the new players coming up and seeing a couple of players stepping up yesterday, like Ryan Poehling. Got a goal yesterday to tie the score up, but I think it was like tied up at 1-1 apiece or 2-2 apiece. Matvei Michkov continued to dominate once again as a rookie. I think he's probably the odds-on favorite right now to probably winning that Rookie of the Year. If not, I would have probably understand it would probably go to Malcolm Celebrini or Lane Hudson of Montreal. So I can understand the other thing too that Michkov is going to be a superstar. According to Keith Jones yesterday, he said he's a big fan of Michkov. On I think he was on with Rob Ellis and Mike Silsky on WIP yesterday. So it was the Saturday morning show, and he was talking about how much Michkov has played very well to the standards as he's become, and also playing very well for. Okay. So the other thing too is that the one thing I was really intrigued about too is that and by the way, if you did not know, that's my show, Patterson F Sports Show. So check it out every Saturday. So but we'll be off this week, but that's another story for another time. But the other thing about it too with the Flyers is that yeah, I mean, this was a really good game for them. I really thought this was a very better second or third period for the guys in orange and black. I thought they played very to the competition that they played. But today, this will be something to look forward to seeing, especially when they take on a Chicago team that for years, I mean, I used to talk about this for years about what Chicago would look like and all the times they had with the Marion Hoses, and the list goes on and on with Chicago, what they had Jonathan Toews, Duncan Key, Patrick Kane, Christopher Stieg, and the list goes on and on. But this is a different team now. But the last thing I'll say about this recap of the previous game that like I said, I saw a lot of fight in this team yesterday, and that the team, I mean, hopefully will get back on track, especially what they're trying to do with this game here today. So maybe this will be a game that they finally get right and also see what they have in store with Chicago. And the other thing that really will make it even more intriguing is to see what they'll look like against teams like Toronto coming up on Tuesday. I think they play on Tuesday, and they come back home to play forget who they play on. They close at the road trip on Tuesday, and they come back home to take on. I forget who they're playing. I think it's either Florida or Carolina. I don't know if it's Carolina. I think it's Florida, but I would be sure it would be I would be sure it'd be one of those teams from the South coming in here. So it'll be something to look forward to seeing. But yeah, I mean, this was a very good game for them. I really thought they played well, but the only thing that gave me that flaw in that game after they tied the score with Dallas, 9 seconds, only took 9 seconds for Dallas to win the game in overtime. And the one thing that really made it worse for the Flyers is that even that they had the chance to win it in overtime, it only took 9 seconds to win in overtime. And yeah, I mean, sometimes it's like a far-fetched thing sometimes, and sometimes you have to worry about what the teams look like, especially when teams like Dallas, who are one of the top teams in the Central right now, something to be looking forward to seeing in the near future, what they look like against teams that are very good. But like I said, yesterday was a very slow first period, but the second and third period looked like they played better. So that's maybe turn that negative into a positive. I guess that's the one thing to be positive about, that they played up to competition yesterday against the Dallas Stars. All right, let's get into our key matchups of this game. So this is probably one of the things I actually did not expect to see with Chicago, but Yeah, I mean, like I mentioned, this is a different Chicago team than they were back 5, maybe 10 years ago. Going to admit too, because they back 10 years ago they were Stanley Cup champions and they won their third straight Stanley Cup in a matter of 6 years, and now they're like in a rebuilding mode. They got Connor Bedard now. That I guess he's the guy. I would guess he is, but I don't know who is. But I guess the big key matchup in this game today is that I guess the storyline to keep a close eye on in Chicago's sake is that after the season, their forward Pat Maroon is actually considering to retire. So he's going to be retiring at the end of the season. So this is his last run around in the NHL. So I expect he will be retiring at the end of the season. Last night, actually, I think they were in St. Louis, and they made him the number one star of the game, and also got a fight out of it. Got a fight in that game. Obviously, if you don't know what Pat Maroon did in St. Louis, he was a big Stanley Cup figure in that Stanley Cup championship against St. Louis in 2019. So, something to keep a close eye on. Obviously, what Pat Maroon will look like, but I mean, if anybody doesn't know the story about Pat Maroon, real quickly though, he was a Flyer at one point. He was affiliated with our Philadelphia Phantoms back in the day, and we decided we didn't need him. So we just like said the one, and basically, if you want to talk about the one that got away, yeah, like we talk about Sergei Bobrovsky talking about, yeah, I mean he's the one that got away, but definitely, yeah, Pat Maroon has to be on that list. It's like, yeah, he's another one, the one that got away too. But we got a comment here, so let's check it out here. So Mitch Kowski checks in. What's going on, cuz? How you doing, buddy? Thanks a lot for joining. Thanks a lot for joining me today. Check out Fly Like an Eagle podcast every single Friday on the Stream Punk Entertainment sister station. So you got tonight. Actually, you got me on Stream Punk Entertainment at the end of the game for the post game show. And I will be doing it fine solo. I would just try to do the best I can and try to recap this game as well with the Blackhawks, because obviously the Blackhawks are a good team. Well, I would always say the Blackhawks are a good team back in the day, but it's kind of weird that they're not the same team as they once were. I mean, it's kind of like what they were back in that early 2006, 2017 when they had Peter Bondra and yeah, even like a Kyle Calder, even like the list goes on and on. Eric Daze, the list goes on and on about that too. I mean, back before they were winning Stanley Cups, they had like bad teams back in the day before Taves and Kane, and even like the list goes on and on about Chicago. But that's going to be a keep a close eye on today. It's like how you're going to keep up the competition with the guys from Chicago. Obviously, I mean, yeah, they're a team that are looking on the outside looking in, but this could be a good day for the Flyers to get back on track here today. So that's the most important thing to keep a close eye on in this matchup here today. All right, let's get into who's trending up and who's trending down on this topic here tonight. I didn't put any thought on this to say who was trending up and who's trending down, but I'll say something to be positive about if I would, because there's a lot to be positive about the last couple games since the Flyers had some pretty bad losses the last couple weeks or so. Obviously, you think about that game they had up last week against the Hurricanes in that last game of the homestand, and they lost 5-0 to Carolina. And I thought it was on the outside looking in. Looks to me they played very well on Monday night against Tampa Bay, so that's a trending up positive, and also that's something to look forward to too. So we got David Burry checking in with Mitch Kowski. So it's good to know he's doing well with that. So thanks for chiming in, buddy. I appreciate it. And what's going on, brother? How you doing, man? Thanks for chiming in, man. I always hit that like and subscribe button on Hardcore Sports Network too. That will be awesome, my friend. So yeah, I mean, it's just the thing that I guess the other thing about that's trending up is that, yeah, sure, the Flyers are not going to be in the postseason once again this year. It would suck though, because I would like to see the Flyers get back to postseason contention and see like the sea of orange and the crowd. Like I missed that back in the day more than anything like that. But yeah, I mean the other thing too is that, speaking of trending up, I guess this will be a good day to see what Sam Ersson can be trending up in a positive direction. I mean, yeah, sure, Sam Ersson hasn't played well the last couple games, and kind of worry about that every single time when he's in goal for the Flyers, and hopefully it'll be a better outcome than the last couple games he played. Fedotov played very well yesterday, so I was really good to see that too. So it will be, I would guess it will be Sam Ersson back in goal today for the Flyers, and I would get back into that. But for trending down, it will be more like what's going on with the Blackhawks' sake, is because at least we're not bad like them. I don't want to sound like I'm being like a homer here, but yeah, at least there's a lot more positivity about for the Flyers, because even though they're not going to be in playoff contention in the next couple, yeah, it does stink that the Flyers are not in playoff contention yet again this season. And like I said, I always miss that sea of orange in that crowd every time when the Flyers are in postseason. You'd see like that orange, a bouquet of orange T-shirts and all that. But it'll come though. It will come though. I think if they play to the standards that they do in the offseason and do very well in the draft, that will be something to look forward to too, especially what they look like. But I don't know what's going to be something to be trending down about, especially. I think it's more going to be trending down for the Blackhawks' sake, but it's not like a Blackhawks podcast like I mentioned. This is like a Flyers show. Maybe this will be something to say, trending down will be good to see the Blackhawks start to fade a little bit and still trying to figure out what they have in store. Yeah, they got a couple coaches here and there ever since Joe Quenneville left, and they come and gone, and now I don't even know who their coach is now. I would be sure it's still Kevin Dineen, if I'm not mistaken. Not Kevin Dineen. I can't even tell you who's on the Chicago team that would be trending down. Maybe trending down that this could take a long time for them to rebuild back to where they are, and hopefully the Flyers are like one step closer in the rebuild. And we're not bad as the Blackhawks, but hopefully they do well in the draft, and hopefully there'll be a lot more positive to come out of it too, especially too. All right, let's go right into our injury report before we get out of here. We got a couple more segments here until we get out of here. So for the injury report, if I'm not mistaken, okay, here we go. So it's basically the same injuries that they had the last couple games. It was Rasmus Ristolainen, who will miss maybe the rest of the season due to that upper body injury that undisclosed injury that he suffered within the last couple weeks or so. So he's going to be out indefinitely now, and I would be sure they'll probably shut him down for the rest of the season, because there's exactly one more month left until the season comes to an end, and probably around this time, it'll be this time around a month from now, the postseason will begin. So I guess they'll shut down Rasmus for the rest of this season, which would be smart though to see. To think that they would shut down Rasmus for the rest of the season, which I don't want it to happen, but Allen, it definitely doesn't mean that's good for Rusto, especially depending on what kind of an injury he suffered in those games. So his presence was going to be definitely missed more than anything, especially who's in goal, and especially who's like that physicality that he brings to the table too. And for Garnet Hathaway, he's going to miss this game here again today. He's going to be day to day, looking very positive, looking better than he did at the beginning process, but now he's day to day now, and it looks to me that both of them are going to miss the lot. Obviously Rasmus will miss today's game, and Garnet Hathaway will miss this game today again, and they are both not in the lineup. So I would expect them to probably come back either. Not both of them. Garnet Hathaway will be back probably within the next week, probably against Toronto on Tuesday, or probably whoever they play on Thursday night. And that's going to be a busy day, that too, because I got the Phillies opening the season that night too. So it's a busy Philly sports night across the Delaware Valley. So I would try to come on here and talk some Flyers and maybe talk some Phil's baseball with you along the process too. So it's going to be a busy day on Thursday. So stay close to Hardcore Sports Network, and also Stream Punk Entertainment for all that kind of stuff along the way too. All right, let's get into our last segment of the night. Let's check out our last segment of this day. So it's our starting goaltender matchup. Excuse me. So in goal today for the Flyers, it will be Sam Ersson back in goal for the Flyers, and hopefully to look to get his lucky number 20th win of the season against Chicago today. He is 19-14-3 this season and has a goals against average of 3.00. So it will be good to see. Hopefully a 20th win for Sam Ersson this year would be something to be positive about, especially if you want to talk about that. But for the Blackhawks, it will be, I would have thought it would have been a Soderblom to be in goal, but it will be the guy that they brought in from the Florida Panthers. Speaking of Florida, Spencer Knight will be in goal today for Chicago, and he's been playing very well for Chicago as of lately, so I guess I should put that up in the trending up, trending down topic. Spencer Knight this season has a record of 14, 12, and 3 this season, and has a goals against average of 2.50. So Urson in goal for the Flyers, and it will be Knight in goal for Chicago. And for my predictions in this game, well, this is something that I thought I would say this before. I know I've been talking about it before, but this has to be I wouldn't say a piece of cake win, because if you think about these games, you would think, okay, Chicago is checked, as a win and as a bonus. But yeah, I guess the other thing too, you have to keep a close eye on too for what they're trying to do, is especially what they're capable of. The last thing I'll say about this too before we get out of here, if they play like they did yesterday, and they play like they did the last couple games, I think it'll be a good day for the Flyers. So I guess I would hope the Flyers would win. I mean, I would like to see them beat Chicago in Chicago, because it's no disrespect to what they did back in the day, but I always liked the Blackhawks. I always like their arena is actually really nice too. I've never been there, but I heard some good things about United Center. It's kind of like they have a thing on the top hand of the boy where the booths are. They said, "Welcome to Comcast Country," if you can see it right here for the Flyers' sake. But they also have one called "Welcome to the Madhouse at Madison." So it's kind of cool to see that kind of stuff. And I think it's kind of like a similar to what they had back in the day at Chicago Stadium back in the day too. So it'll be nice to see the Flyers get a win today here in this game against the Chicago Blackhawks, who are, I guess you could say, in tanking mode. And I mean, we're not like much better than Chicago, but yeah, I think if the Flyers are playing better than they have, this could be a win in the bag today, hopefully for the guys in orange and black too. All right, that's going to wrap up our portion for the Hockey Night on Board Flyers pregame show. But remember to stay tuned after the game for the Third Line John Flyers postgame show. I will be flying solo tonight. I will be I got you covered for this game here tonight, for this game between the Flyers and the Blackhawks. That will be right after the game goes final, so I'm guessing like 5:30 or so, close to 6. It will be, like I said, it's going to be yours truly once again here tonight for this game. So I will be back again, but this will be the last time. Speaking of Third Line John, this will be the last one of the year tonight. So you have the Sixers and the Flyers. Last post games of the season until the Phillies start up in the next couple of days or so. But I will be sure Pap and Art got you covered for that stuff as well. And hopefully I'll be back for that Phillies stuff as well. In the future references too, but this will be the beginning of the end for the post-game shows again. But like I said, I'll be back again. Speaking of, but this is not the end for the pregame shows. Excuse me. This will be I will be back again on Tuesday night when the Flyers take on Toronto against the Maple Leafs, against Mitch Marner, Austin Matthews, and Toronto. So I got you covered for that game. That will be a 6:30 pregame show, and a 7 o'clock puck drop right here on Hardcore Sports Network. And now for everyone behind the scenes, and now for everyone that made it work here, now for myself, James Scorza here, and this has been the Hockey Night on Board Flyers pregame show. And for everybody who chimed in, I want to say thanks for watching, everybody. Enjoy the game, and we'll see you back here for the postgame show. Until then, we will see you next time.